am a diverse artist. I didn't really plan that. It just all kept coming together. And I thought for a long time they were very separate, that I was a visual artist, and then I was writing poetry on the side, or maybe I was writing poems to explain the visual art. And meanwhile, I was also doing radio hosting. And at some point I started to feel sort of like a separate person, like I had separate parts. Mm-hmm. And that didn't feel right. That didn't feel comfortable inside me. And so at some point things started, as I guess they naturally do, to just move together. And I realized that everything I do is about those mysterious worlds of poetry, sound, and visual.
Slick rock, lost rock, sun on rock, and piled rock.
It's all, in a way, collage. I think that's exactly what I do in every other thing I do. In the visual art, this is all bits and pieces of things. The poetry is often bits and pieces of things. Sometimes it's lines from a different poem. Sometimes it's ideas from today and ideas from 2 months ago or years ago. And certainly the radio show is a collage of different sounds, different music and beats and words coming together.
Eyes open, legs splayed in the powdery dirt. She likes the cool of it, the dynamic surge of just belonging to a place like this. Brown and barren and slow as rust.
The biggest difficulty in what I do, I'm finding over and over, is how to balance, how to juggle these three different, similar but different things, and give each the weight they need.
Dominant rock, sediment rock, bedding rock, million-year lithospheric sculpture of rock.
I think it's very exceptional what you do, because there's so much commodification of the art world now. So it is like, create this product, get it out, have it look similar to what you did before so that it can be marketed in a gallery setting. And what you do is so special to me, and is really much more about what the artist process is about, what the artistic creative process is about, that evolution.
We have brought you to the desert, 7,000 feet above the sea, where the bare ground seams itself to the unyielding sky. You are in a region with its own definition of surface tension. We ask you to understand that the earth is shallow here. Everything I do is what I want to do. And that sounds utterly selfish, but also smart in a way. I can't make the same thing again and again and again. I can make it until I'm done with it, and then and I can make it in a series, but then I can't make it anymore. I made a whole series of jazz musicians, and I loved doing it up to a point, and then there were still dozens, hundreds, thousands of jazz musicians, and I was done. My culture is a combination of things. I was born and raised in New York, and I don't feel like I brought that culture to bear in any significant way. So my culture is New Mexico. I'm spending 18 years here, and how that, we drove into town and I said, I want to live here. It was like it colored me immediately. It was like, oh, these colors? I know these colors somewhere deep in me.
Fire pit of rock, and us sitting in the curve of rock, each word bouncing against rock. A crooked rock trespassing through chasm of rock, the grand earth geologic process of rock, sorted into ambiguous rock. We keep placing our secrets in rock. So my culture is my backyard. There's a development that's being proposed for my backyard. I live in a rural area. That absorbed a huge amount of my attention.
And that was about saving this environment and this culture. Well, this was the piece you did about what was happening with the development, right?
That's right. It's called How to Disappear the Stars, and it's a story. It's actually a book that opens and closes. It's a very abstract book. This is one of the few books I've done that has any words in it. And it tells the story of the houses moving in and the light moving in and ruining our perfect, beautiful night skies. And this is, if you take a look closely, yes, I work in fabric, but I also work in other materials. If you take a look at the inside of the box, it's my little community, which is where those little red dots are. Those are the individual houses in my rural community. And this dense red area,
Wow.
that's the development moving in and what they proposed.
I love this piece. Yeah, it's wonderful. This is about the Earth too, isn't this? Is a series you're starting. This is the first of
I'm
the
starting
series.
on the different seasons of New Mexico. This is called, at least a working title, it's called Wind Season. What you're looking at here, these are all fabrics, lots and lots of fabrics, and that one stone sort of holding everything down. It's part of a new series. The next piece I'm doing is about the fires. So the series, as I envision it now, the 4 parts of it, the 4 parts that people don't tell you about the beauty of New Mexico:
Right.
wind, fire, pollen,
Yes.
and mud.
The earth will slowly crust into tenacious particles. Stillness, cradled inside, like a newborn.
These pieces here are from a series, a completed series called Earth Drawings. And it started it must have been like March. That wind season when everything's dry, nothing's yet coming up.
Arid,
and
cracking, yeah.
And it is what I see out of my window, my studio window.
Particles.
I know that you do a lot of teaching. Can you talk about that? I know you love teaching.
The classes that I created are called wordplay. And they are whatever I want them to be and whatever I think the students need. It's usually a small group, 8 or 10 people, and some people know exactly what they want to write, and some people have no idea. They just want to write, and they want the confidence to be able to write. And maybe nobody's ever given them that.
Was there anyone that mentored you, that inspired you?
The first person who really supported me was my freshman year of college English teacher, who had me read one of my stories to the class. And I thought she was having me read. Understand that my high school English teacher told me I wasn't a very good writer. And so I got to college and I just assumed that was the case, even though I loved to write. And so she had me read to the class a story I had written, and I thought she was calling on me so that she could say, see, this is an example of not very good writing.
Right.
And the class said, wow, and that was amazing. That felt really good. I don't know that you could call her a mentor, but she was like a light in a forest,
Right.
like just
someone that saw your spark.
something that said, oh, maybe you shouldn't completely, utterly shut down this part.
Yeah.
And then I'd be absolutely remiss if I didn't
Say that the person who has 190% pushed me along is David,
Right.
who
Incredible partner.
who came to me at one point before I'd ever made anything creative, of anything original, and said, why don't you make something of your own? I want to see. Why don't you make bad art? Why don't you make good art? Why don't you make anything?
and he's just been supportive of everything. Doesn't mean he likes everything, thank heavens, because I don't think a person should, but it means that he believes in every moment I spend being creative.
It's hard to be an artist alone in the world.
It is, and you don't need a lot of people, but you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
you need a few. You need one, you need two, you either need someone who gives you everything or you need a community. And maybe you still need a community anyway.